Okay, let's get started. Welcome to the September 15th meeting. When's the last time we met? March, early March. Yeah. I want to use this meeting. This is very unusual. We've never done a virtual auction before. We got 14, I believe, on. Yeah, 14. So we got 20.
Mine's 20 right now.
20 here, and another 14, so 34. Not a bad showing for our very first meeting for March. Let's open up in prayer. Teresa, do you mind standing and open us in prayer?
Now let's just take a moment for silence. Thank you, Father God, in the name of your Son Jesus, for all the Rotarians that can join us here today, and those who are sheltering at home. Fellowship and service after this extremely long hiatus. Lord, heal us from this COVID. We need your help. The floods from the south and fire. Help and heal America, Lord. Replace hate with love. Reinforce the freedom, liberty, and democracy that our founding fathers gave. And Lord, remind us that we, as America, is the home of the brave and the land of the free. May God bless each and every one of you, my fellow Rotarians, and may God bless the great nation of the United States of America. We ask all these things, Father God, in the name of your Son, Jesus. And all together we say,
Amen. Thank you, Teresa. And what I wanted to use this meeting for is just a time for us to get together. We haven't seen each other since March. We're going to fellowship, we're going to talk, and I'd like to hear everybody's experiences during the pandemic. What's everybody been doing? I'll start out with me. It was early February, we started talking about the pandemic at work. After that, after 2 weeks of talking about it, everything was shut down. As soon as the basketball season was canceled for the part of the year, and everything shut down. I've been working from home ever since. And so I've not been to a restaurant but one or two times since. So I'm excited to be back out and with everybody. But I want to open it up. I want to hear everybody's experience. Anybody want to talk about it? Experience during the pandemic? David?
I'll talk a little bit about it. I think that one of the most interesting things is we kind of all went through what you just described, which was, okay, this is really going to happen. So all of the people kind of threw their collective energy into it. It was really interesting to watch how every different business adapted, particularly the school system. And if you've not watched some of the work that, both Whitfield County and the stuff here in Scottsdale and the city, it's really fascinating. And I know that's kind of civics and it's kind of case study boring, but it's also what we had to do to adapt. So there's some really cool people. What I've gotten to do is I've had a rare glimpse of what all the people who are trying to help one another are doing during this. And I've seen changes in demand during lockdowns for abuse services, and we've seen a tremendous amount of money given to help offset things that were created by the economic slowdown and so forth. I'll leave you with one thought. I've been involved in projects where I've talked to a lot of the major charities around the region. And what I found is they're not worried about today. They're not worried about 2 months from now. They're worried about the middle of next year. In the middle of next year is when all the support for the economy changes, the PPP, the CARES Act stuff, and so forth. So if you've got a favorite charity, ask them how they're doing. I can guarantee you they're stressed out of their minds because most of them are getting time still lay ahead of us. But I'm glad to be back at Rotary.
sorry folks online, I had to unmute that speaker, got muted. I do want to encourage, if you guys that are here, or if you guys are online, we're taking our precautions, we're wearing our masks, because everybody's eating, so David's the only one that's got his on right now, but everybody else is eating. But in and out, we're wearing our masks, we're not shaking hands, we're not hugging, we're not supposed to be. So if you feel comfortable, please come out and let us know, because we've got to let the country club know during this time. We reserved for 25 this time, and they charge us for those minutes. And we're only billing for the ones that are coming. So please let us know that way we can plan that way. But David, thank you for your comments. Anybody else would like to talk? Lynn, I know you've had. I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but you're right in the middle of.
I don't mind being put on the spot at that. Well, of course, our business stayed open. Miller works from home and he came to the office. Ben and I went together before, so we were in the office every day and we sent our staff home. He was 60 for 8 weeks. Something like that. And they could answer our phones and they could access their computers at work and print forms and all that. And it went real well. The county, of course, we tried to do executive orders, and every time we did one, the governor had one that said no county or city could make an ordinance any more restrictive or less restrictive than his. And finally, a few weeks ago, he said he would leave it up to the counties or the cities about the mask mandate. So, boy, Ben and I were out of town that weekend, and on Monday driving back, I looked at my county phone, and I had emails, and I had calls, and it was like everybody came out. When I got to the meeting that night, and all we were going to do was discuss, it wasn't a vote, just to discuss the mask mandate, and the room was packed. Somebody sent out an email saying, red, if you're opposed to a mask mandate, we have people in red lining the building around where we were meeting. So I allowed each commissioner to talk, and each of the commissioners said they were not for a mask mandate, and they got a round of applause. And then I said I was for one, and nobody applauded me. I appreciate that. And then I asked for a show of hands, and there was one lady there that was for the mask mandate, and she was a medical person. So we can't get a mask mandate passed in Hill County, but the governor put so many restrictions on it anyway. I don't think it would have been very effective. So I had twice weekly phone calls, live streams for our residents, and I had different people on there talking about the virus. And a lot of people didn't watch those, but the newspaper covered them really well. And we had doctors on there. We had a Spanish doctor who talked in Spanish. We had the Georgia State head of the Department of Labor, and he filled everybody in on unemployment. That was a really, really good one. So I'm on a COVID task force. Rob is on it, and we have the school superintendent's on it. Several people from the hospital, and there's about 18 or 19. And at first, we had a conference call twice weekly, and it was wonderful to see because the schools would say, we need this, and another person would say, hey, I've got access to that. So it was really good. Rob, don't you agree with that? Yeah. And now we're just meeting like every other week, talking about statistics and that kind of thing. But it's been a really busy time. Unprecedented, that word has been used probably more in the last 6 months than it's been used in history. And so it's been an interesting time and a difficult time. But it just kind of blows me away that this is being dealt with all over the world. Y'all even saying in the recent times when something like this has impacted everybody around the world. So I think it's been turned into a political issue, and I'm sad about that. This is not about personal freedom, it's about protecting people's health. And it's not a political issue. So anyway, I talked more than you want to me to.
No, that's perfect. Thank you, Lynn. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
I'll just mention a couple of things. That I had this thankless job. It's called being chairman of the board of elections. I get paid an average of about $1.25 an hour. So it is a part-time job. But this year it's going to be incredibly difficult for all of us. And I want everybody to understand that we really do want you to vote, contrary to what some people vote. And please, if you vote absentee, please follow the instructions. Okay? It's amazing how many ballots we get back, especially absentee ballots, that are marked incorrectly. People using X's instead of coloring the circle. They use check marks. They don't tear off the tabs like we're supposed to do. They do few things like write on the ballot and people's names on the ballot. And what happens when that, just to educate everybody, when we get a ballot that's improperly marked, we have to sit there and we have to have a Republican representative and a Democratic representative, and we have to look at the ballot and we have to make a decision on what that person, we think that person is doing. And so then what we would do is remark the ballot, each ballot that's wrongfully marked to reflect what we were supposed to say. And you can imagine last time we had about 250 ballots to get remarked. And that's to do each one individually takes forever to do. So be careful and follow the instructions. Please be nice to poll workers. They're doing this. And please refrain from wearing clothing to the polling places that reflects a candidate's name or even the slogan. We're going to have to make some tough decisions this year on what we allow people to wear and vote about. We can't tell a voter they can't vote. They'll get nasty letters from Secretary of State's office if they're improperly dressed or polling place. We have had that ask people before to leave and come back and turn the shirt wrong side out and take their hats off. And we don't want that to do it. And I don't worry about Rotarians and general public sometimes. People come to the polling place looking for confrontation.
I've never thought about that. That's, I'm sure the poll workers have to deal with that quite often.
Well, I have a lot of really funny stories. I'll refrain from telling those, and some pretty bad stories.
Well, the primaries, how did these go? How did the primaries go? I know a lot of people did.
Here they went really well. I think we had busy problems, but thank goodness we're not Fulton County to Capital. We have a wonderful staff. Me and him for the unbelievable job. And the county commissioners is about for that right now. And we couldn't do without it. So she's so savvy, technologically savvy, and like the chairman. So she knows all the perks and what to do. And she was totally dedicated to her job. I'm glad we don't have to figure out what we think about it.
They work a lot of overtime. Just so y'all know how it impacts taxpaying residents, we had to approve an additional up to $50,000 from Mary's budget. We did that last night. We got that proposed to a lot of extra expenses.
Yes.
How do you evaluate the new machine coming process versus the old?
We don't have a choice.
Oh, I know that. I just wonder how they work.
No, that's Secretary of State, what shows the machine that we use. You know, in my opinion, and I think everybody works with elections, it's needed marks. Because once, before, I always felt my vote was safe. I never really felt threatened by the Russians, the Chinese, or anybody else. But the prior process was pretty easy, as we all know. We used it for years, and there really weren't moving parts. Now you've got to print the ballot after you vote, You get to take it over and, run through the scanner, so you've got printer, problems with the printer, and you've got possible problems with the scanner, so you've got, one of those, I don't like these,
Just from my personal experiences, I do tech stuff for a living, and it's a lot harder to navigate through those than you do.
Don't forget to vote.
Anybody else would like to share their experience?
We've got, pre-voting, start early voting, and he asked me, I'm not sure if it was soon, is that stuff pretty soon. We'll be playing notices. We encourage early voting, and we'll make it as safe as possible. And the way they have it set up now is the mayor's office being in the middle of the courthouse, it's going to run a lot smoother. We'll have more machines. We can do it a lot faster. But there'll probably still be some.
I'm going to expose language, but I hear a lot of ruckus about the U.S. Post Office distributing ballots. Do you have to register as an absentee ballot, or is this supposed to be a carte blanche, none enough for everybody in all 50 states?
That's what happened in the primary, is the Secretary of State's office. This time, you don't need to request an absentee ballot. There's some automatic, out. People that they have to do before, the people that are elderly, that's what we want. But you'll need to request an absentee ballot. And a lot of the Republican Party, and I think maybe the Democratic Party too, are sending out forms to request an absentee ballot. They don't come from us, but they're perfectly legal, and you can fill that form out and send it back to request an absentee ballot. There won't be a mass mailing unless the parties are parties.
Now, that's the case with Georgia. How about the balance of the country? Do you know?
It varies from state to state. It varies. It's going to be state to state.
Thank you.
Let me give you what I've observed during this period of time. The nature of my business is such, and the way I do my business is I can't sequester at home. I have to go in the office if I'm going to stay busy. And what I observed during this period of time was just absolutely unbelievable in downtown Dalton. I generally get to work about 6:30, 6:40. Penn Street has no cars on it during this period of time. When I leave today in the afternoon, there might be 40 cars on Penn Street as I leave. Oakwood is still working and so forth. During the middle of the pandemic, in April and May, there'd be 2 or 3 cars on Penn Street at 6:30 in the evening. It was just devoid of traffic and people. The bank, surprisingly, they continued to operate, and they opened all 5 drive-through lanes, and I was just watching during the day. It was half utilized. Now, they'll have all 5 lanes full, merging to a single lane or 2 that come all the way out to Penn Street. It is so busy because they've opened the lobby at BB&T now, so that has made some difference, but not a lot. They don't have a lot of traffic there, but I have just been so amazed at the downtown Dalton was a ghost town. There was just no traffic. I have not missed a day of work. I had to work Saturdays and Sundays because I've got more work I know what to do with right now. But it has not been that way throughout this period of time. And Dalton, downtown Dalton suffered. It's just in my observation. So,
I was there in Compton, and pretty similar to that. I have an individual I do some work with that has an office just across 285 from Dalton, and 19-floor high rise. And there's 3 buildings in this complex that form kind of a U. Each building has a parking deck underneath it, and then there's parking on the street in front of the building. I've been going down there for 4 years now, working with this individual, and up until, and I haven't been down there in several months other what's going on. Up until this last time I went, which was last week, you could never find a parking place in the parking garage, on the street, 2 blocks away, in the paid parking. You had to ride around with somebody to move and park. Down there last week, there was nobody in any of the parking decks. There were no cars in any of the business spots outside the buildings. I parked right in front of the front door. This was a 1904 building. I walked in the front door, the section security desk, there was one person there, controls access to the elevator, which elevator you can take whatever went to the 19th floor, just into his office. There was one person there, and he and I. When I left the building 3 hours later, it was exactly the same way. There were 4 people in that 1904 building. I don't know what that's doing to our economy, but I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I don't think we got any real idea what it's done, and aren't going to really know for the years. It's phenomenal.
Same experience for me. I worked for Atlantic Capital Bank, and we were headquartered in Buckhead on a 27-story building with probably 25 people in that town.
I mean, some of the people in this building I know, and some of the people on this gentleman's staff have the ability to work from home and work from office, but a lot of the people, you know, they're just not working in business, shutting down.
Do you think though, Don, that people are, that they have found, companies found that they can work from home, so forth? Is this going to affect, you think, how businesses function in the future, where they've been so intensive in the building itself? But I mean, I think Amanda shared with us that her staff is still working from home, and they're getting just as much work done before, and they might even be more efficient at home than they were there in the office.
I don't have a lot of experience anymore, but I do very limited number of things. I got 3 or 4 consulting companies, and I sell a little oil. I'm not really in the business world like I was 5 years ago, 4 years ago. But I will tell you that my wife just started working with a company she's known for a while, and they have a traditional office and a warehouse and some other things, and they were always busting people in and out. Nobody goes to the office. Everybody works from home, except the guys that have to physically handle the product in the warehouse. Nobody goes. And they'll probably say that.
I think
discover
Tom Dalton, you feel
they
exactly
can
the
do
same
all
way.
their customer service, all their billing, all their management remotely, so all can.
Yeah, Frank, to follow up on, we've noticed that for what I consider to be rote and routine tasks, they're literally more efficiently done when people can work from home. I did discover through accident, we were putting together our new strategic plan. We tried to do that via Zoom, and we went through 2, 3, 4 2-hour sessions and came up with a piece of schlock. And I looked at it, I said, this is horrible. This is absolutely horrible. So observing social distancing, assembled the entire management team. We were in our upstairs auditorium where we could each look at each other eyeball to eyeball, reestablish the synergy, and in a matter of 2 hours, 2-3 hours, we did what we couldn't do in previous multiple sessions. So there's certain things that I'm convinced, if you're really looking to do high impact, brainstorming, leadership type activities, there's no substitution for the synergy of getting large groups of people together, face to face. Electronic communications just doesn't allow for that little nuance that's needed to do what I consider high value work.
Well, I think there's been a larger exchange of ideas and thoughts today, just in this meeting. The whole time we've been under the pandemic, we've been meeting our board virtually, Microsoft Teams, other church things on Zoom and so forth, you just don't get out of it the same thing that you do here. You don't get the expression and the feelings of the people like you do. Some tasks work out well at home by yourself. I mean, architects can take their laptops home and do their design on that and do it just as well there as they can in the office. I can't. I use pencil and paper. I have to be in the office. So I didn't have many people coming by though, but I was kind of sequestered at the office wasn't home. Thank goodness.
And I find myself, and you may be experiencing it too, Tom, just a distraction when you're working at a Zoom call. It's easy to look at your other screen and just go to work while you're. Is that what you think may took away from those Zoom calls?
A little bit, but I really just think there's something about an interpersonal connection you have with somebody to be able to read the facial expression, scan across the entire room and kind of pick up on little nonverbal cues. And let's face it, it's kind of spastic. If you're on a Zoom call, you don't know when it's really your turn to speak. Yeah, you can flag the little toolbar that's, got your hand raised stuff. That kind of kills some spontaneity and still leads to people, stepping on top of each other.
Well, my grandkids are in college still. I have two grandsons, and one is at UT in Knoxville. But he's paid to be at Knoxville and studying to be a veterinarian. But he's in Dalton on his dining room table business while we pay that. And he says it's just not the same. And the other one is the same way. He only goes down one day a week, and then everything else is online. Oh, what? Or when are we going to get back to classes? Of college classes especially.
I'm not sure if we're going to go back. I really think that this is kind of a wake-up call as to the lunacy of paying $15,000, $20,000 a year to send a kid to college, when in practicality, you could sit at your desktop or they could sit in your bedroom, get online, with the exception of a few things, it's probably just as effective as being in a lecture hall with 300 and 400 kids and one prof on top of the stage delivering the lecture.
I have a daughter who's in grad school in Athens, and they just Zoom and some in person, similar to what you described, and there's one person with a whiteboard over his shoulder, and probably says, "Well, it's my tuition not to movie." They're here. They're pretty smart.
And I do want to give the quality of education to Margaret. I think I saw you online. Our son goes to Dalton State College, and he graduates this spring, and he's got companies all over the Southeast recruiting to come work for him. So I think that he's graduating debt free without any kind of debt, and I think that's goes to your point. And somebody that graduated from UVA or some other big out-of-state college.
I'll be the voice for our elementary school students and just say, virtual learning, you miss so much, and it has been devastating to watch those really social children miss out on the experience of being in the classroom in those years. And then, as a parent, trying to navigate both getting them through Zoom calls and then you're trying to get on yours and you're like, David and I were on a meeting one time and he's like, there goes the child. And it's just the reality of it. So I think there's a place for brick and mortar, certainly. Sometimes I think education happens to a lot of our little ones. They don't get to play the role that, college students do in their education. Sometimes just being there in the classroom and showing up is half the battle. And I'm thrilled that our superintendents locally have worked so hard to safely get our kids back in school.
Yeah.
I have a son that teaches at UT, and all his classes are virtual, but my daughter-in-law teaches at a Montessori school in Knoxville. They have a lecture that has to be totally outside. So everybody's there, and they plan to teach this up through the winter. They have no structures, they build and training, and they do all of their shooting outside. That just blows my mind, but apparently it's just love it, and their interaction. So, is that amazing? You imagine they all the classes out?
I think I would enjoy that.
I think a lot of kids do, yeah.
I think we got time for 1 o'clock, or a few more questions. Anybody online want to share, to share your experience? Okay. Anybody else in the room here would like to share? Me?
I just want to say from my vantage point, I'm around the school district in Hillsborough County, and just knowing how hard that those teachers and administrators have been working to realign things to make education safe for everyone, whether it's in person or obviously virtually. But education is near my heart. I'm sure it is to everybody here. But I will guarantee you that you won't find a harder group of people than we have in Little County in Dalton City that are trying to do the best things for our kids, to engage them, to make them feel valued, all the things that they're wanting to do. Hopefully, that we can get beyond this pandemic and begin healing physically and economically and everything else. But I think there have been some good measures put in and good things put in place from all this to help us even be a better school district and schools in general. I think there's a lot of, I know there's a lot of hardship right now, but there's a lot of silver linings too that have made us rethink the wheel and to make things a little bit better.
All right, let's, well, thank you. Thank you all. Yeah, Tom.
I was going to interject a little bit of humor. Dalton Utilities and working with the two school systems, I did, we're asking the school systems, I need these kids that don't have internet at home so we can assist in establishing a broadband connection. Turns out we got 50 or 60 kids that came back and told the teacher, this so-and-so, I don't have internet in my house. And it was just a ploy to get them out of schoolwork. We burnt a lot of bad hours. We went back to ascertain this kid's got an internet connection. What's he trying to tell this teacher?
I was able to speak with two stories a month or so ago, just to kind of encourage her, because the decisions that her and Dr. Scott are making right now, that she's not going to be allowed in church. She's not going to satisfy every person but Bill County. But she said that she quoted Eleanor Roosevelt and said that this is what's been on her heart and this is how she's gotten through things that in prayer for us. But she said, do what you feel in your heart to be right, or you'll be criticized anyway. And she said, as long as she is content in her heart and content with what she feels that God wants her to do and what is best for the kid, then she's going to be that way. She's going to be criticized no matter what. So she said that is her motto these past few months.
All right, well, we're pushing 1 o'clock. Frank, we haven't heard your jokes in a while.
Well, I was just thinking about that. During this time, do you know what the dyslexic, agnostic, insomniac did during the night? They sat around wondering if there really was a dog.
All right, we'll end there. All right, well, I do want to make a few more announcements. Smitty's wife so graciously made this for us. This is the conference this year. It's Fun in the Sun, and they're having a beach towel competition. And this is what Smitty's wife made for us to submit into the competition. So I'm going to hold it up here too. So I want to give Smitty a hand of applause and his wife for doing that. I think committee said, we're gonna win it. And also, Darlington was asked me to make one announcement about the census. If you've not done the census, do it, because that means a lot to our community. So fill out the census. But we'll end with a pledge of allegiance and 4-way step. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The things we think, say, or do, is the truth, is fair to all concerned, with the will of every interest, will be beneficial to all concerned. Next meeting, September 29th. Thank you, everybody.